It has been 60 years since the tragic and mysterious death of Sam Cooke, the legendary king of soul. But after all these decades, so many questions still remain. What really happened on that fateful night? Were the stories told back then true? Or was there more to the story than the public was led to believe? In this video, we take you inside Sam Cooke's abandoned home, uncover the truth about his net worth, and dive deep into the unsettling circumstances surrounding his untimely death. From his groundbreaking career to the lingering conspiracy theories that refuse to fade, stay with us, because the more you uncover about Sam Cooke's life and tragic end, the more disturbing the truth becomes. Early life and musical beginnings. Sam Cooke didn't just change music, he shaped it, influencing countless artists, including those at Motown. Born Samuel Cooke on January 22, 1931 in Clarksdale, Mississippi, Sam grew up in a large family as the fifth of 8 children. His father, Reverend Charles Cooke, was a Baptist minister, while his mother, Annie Mae Carroll, took care of their home. From an early age, Sam's world revolved around music, especially in the church where he sang in his father's choir. By the time he was 6, he was already performing with his siblings in a gospel group called the Singing Children. In 1933, the Cooke family moved to Chicago, where Sam's love for music deepened. He was inspired by artists like Nat King Cole, who had attended the same school, and his voice quickly stood out for its smoothness and emotional depth. At just 14 years old, he joined the gospel group the Highway QCs, before later becoming the lead singer of the Soul Stirrers, one of the most renowned gospel groups of the time. With Sam at the helm, the Soul Stirrers reached national fame. His songwriting skills helped define their sound, with hits like Jesus Gave Me Water capturing audiences everywhere. But as much as Sam loved gospel, he knew his destiny lay beyond it. He was hungry for more. Breaking barriers in music. In the 1950s, Sam Cooke made a bold move. He transitioned from gospel to pop and soul music, a risky decision at the time. Gospel singers were expected to stick to religious music, and crossing over into secular songs often led to backlash. To test the waters, Sam released a song under the name Dale Cooke, hoping to avoid criticism from gospel fans. But his signature voice was impossible to hide, and before long he fully embraced pop music under his real name, Sam Cooke. Even before his transition, Sam had been perfecting his craft for years. When the Singing Children stopped performing, he joined a local gospel group called the Teenage Highway QCs, where he blended spiritual passion with a more polished performance style, much like the renowned Soul Stirrers. After World War II, his older brother Charles returned home and was amazed at how much Sam had grown as a performer. The Teenage Highway QCs were gaining recognition, and Sam was determined to take things even further. He sought guidance from R.B. Robinson of the Soul Stirrers, learning the finer details of performance. His smooth voice quickly made him popular with female fans, sometimes a little too popular, leading to occasional trouble, including a brief stint in jail after a scandal involving a young girl. Unlike many gospel singers who relied on raw power and high-energy delivery, Sam had a smooth, controlled voice that made him stand out. J.W. Alexander, a fellow gospel singer, once said that no matter who performed before him, Sam could still steal the show. His first recordings with the Soul Stirrers reflected his growing artistry. Songs like Jesus Gave Me Water and Until Jesus Calls Me Home showcased his silky, effortless vocals. Over time, he developed his signature whoa-whoa vocal style, a sound that became one of his trademarks. Tracks like Someday Somewhere and Come and Go to That Land proved he had not only talent, but undeniable charisma, a presence that would soon take him far beyond gospel music, tragedy, and personal struggles. Despite his incredible success, Sam Cooke's personal life was filled with struggles, especially when it came to relationships. He was married twice, and both marriages had their complications. His first wife was Dolores Elizabeth Milligan Cooke, also known as D. Mohawk. They married in 1953, but their relationship was rocky, and they divorced in 1958. Sadly, just a year later, Dolores died in a car accident. Even though they were no longer together, Sam paid for her funeral, a sign that he still cared about her despite their differences. That same year, Sam married Barbara Campbell, with his father officiating the ceremony in Chicago. The couple had 3 children, Linda, Tracy, and Vincent. But in 1963, tragedy struck when their 18-month-old son Vincent drowned in the family's swimming pool. The loss was devastating. Sam was inconsolable, and the grief took a toll on his marriage. He blamed Barbara for not watching Vincent closely enough, and the weight of that guilt consumed him. Friends noticed a shift in him. He drank more, smiled less, and for 6 months, he didn't record any new music. Instead, he threw himself into touring, possibly as a way to run from his pain. Around this time, Sam also became more deeply involved in the civil rights movement. He connected with powerful figures like Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, and Malcolm X, and their ideas challenged his perspective, shaping the way he saw the world and his place in it. One night, while in a New York studio, Muhammad Ali introduced Sam to the British press, marking yet another turning point in his life. Amid all the personal and professional changes he was going through, Sam felt it was time to get back to the studio. But this time, he wanted to do things differently. He teamed up with Harold Batiste, a talented musician and civil rights activist who shared his passion for Black empowerment. The two had deep conversations about using music to uplift the Black community and create opportunities for young Black artists. Sam dreamed of building a space where musicians could collaborate freely, own their work, and truly make an impact. But before he could bring that vision to life, tragedy struck. He had controversies with his manager. Sam's business moves, especially his partnership with manager Alan Klein, weren't without controversy. Known for renegotiating contracts with major music companies, Klein helped Sam secure a lucrative deal with RCA Records. This agreement gave Sam a large upfront payment and more control over his music, which was groundbreaking for a Black artist at the time. Owning his own songs was something few Black musicians had the power to do, but not everyone saw the deal as a win. In 1963, Sam signed a 5-year contract with Klein to manage both his record label, SAR Records, and his publishing company, Cags Music. As part of the deal, Klein arranged for RCA Victor to distribute Sam's music while a company called Tracy Letad, which Klein controlled, would own the rights to his recordings. J.W. Alexander, one of Sam's closest collaborators, managed Tracy Letad, but ultimately, Klein held much of the power. On the surface, the deal looked promising, but it came at a cost. Instead of receiving a $100,000 upfront cash payment, Sam was given preferred stock in Tracy Letad, essentially making him a shareholder rather than directly paying him. Over the next few years, he was promised additional cash advances, $100,000 for the first 2 years, followed by $75,000 for the next 2, if the deal lasted that long. While Sam's push for ownership was groundbreaking, many questioned whether Klein truly had his best interests at heart. Some believed Klein's management style prioritized his own financial gain, making Sam a target for criticism within the industry. A mystery behind his death. At Sam Cooke's funeral, fellow musician Johnny Morissette, who had been signed to Sam's label, was overcome with emotion. He kept sobbing and repeating, "I'm sorry, Sam. I'm sorry, Sam. I'm sorry, Sam." In the early hours of December 11, 1964, gunshots rang out at the Hacienda Motel in south-central Los Angeles. But in that neighborhood, the sound of gunfire wasn't unusual. Even when police arrived, they didn't seem particularly alarmed. They found a man lying near the motel office, dead, naked except for a sport coat and one shoe. because Sam had been seen arriving at the motel with a woman. Norman Edelin, one of the few black officers in the LAPD at the time, recalled how his white colleagues reacted. "They just saw it as another black man shot," he later said. It wasn't until hours later that the world learned the truth. The man lying dead at the Hacienda Motel was Sam Cooke, one of the most influential soul singers of his time. The news shocked everyone. How could someone with such a heavenly voice meet such a violent end? Even after 5 decades, people still question what really happened that night. Earlier that evening, Sam had been at Martoni's, an upscale Los Angeles restaurant popular with musicians. He was out with his friend and producer Al Schmidt and Schmidt's wife. Sam was in high spirits, chatting with friends at the bar and flashing a thick wad of cash, about $5,000 from recent concert earnings. At some point, he struck up a conversation with Elisa Boyer, a 22-year-old woman. Later that night, Sam and Boyer left together. He told Schmidt he'd meet him later at PJ's nightclub, but he never made it. This wasn't Sam's wife, Barbara Campbell. She was at home with their 2 children. At 2:35 a.m., Sam and Elisa Boyer checked into the Hacienda Motel, signing the register as husband and wife. What happened next is still a mystery. Boyer later told police that Sam forced her into the bedroom, pinned her down, and began tearing at her clothes. She claimed she was terrified and thought he was going to hurt her. When Sam stepped into the bathroom, Boyer grabbed her clothes, along with Sam's, which contained his wallet and cash, and ran. She called the police from a nearby phone booth, telling them she had been kidnapped. Meanwhile, Sam emerged from the bathroom furious. Realizing Boyer was gone, he stormed out of the room wearing only a sport coat, looking for answers. His search led him to the motel office, where Bertha Franklin, the motel manager, was working. Sam believed Franklin was hiding Boyer. According to Franklin, he forced his way in, grabbed her arms, and demanded to know where Boyer was. She claimed he was aggressive, and in the struggle she fought back, kicking and biting him. Franklin said she feared for her life. She grabbed a .22 pistol and fired 3 shots. 2 missed, but 1 struck Sam in the heart and lungs, killing him. Police ruled it a justifiable homicide, and Franklin was never charged. But many of Sam's friends didn't believe the official story. They described him as peaceful and kind, not someone prone to violence. Some suspected he was set up. The Hacienda Motel had a reputation for shady activity, including prostitution. Many believed Boyer had lured Sam there to rob him. Sam had been carrying $5,000 in cash that night, but after his death, the money was never found. Boyer, who later had run-ins with the law, was eventually arrested for prostitution, and in 1979, she was convicted of murder in an unrelated case. After Franklin shot Sam, he reportedly staggered toward her and said, "Lady, you shot me." Even then, Franklin claimed, he kept coming toward her. She grabbed a large broom handle or stick and beat him until he collapsed. There were also inconsistencies with the gun used. It didn't match the weapon that was initially reported. To this day, many believe Sam Cooke's death was more than just a tragic incident. It was a setup. Many unanswered questions of his death. The gun registered to Bertha Franklin, the woman who claimed she shot Sam, was still partially loaded after the incident. That raised a big question. If she feared for her life, why would she drop a loaded gun and use a broomstick instead? There were other odd details, too. The bullet that was removed from Sam's body mysteriously disappeared after being placed in police evidence. An autopsy found a large bump on his head, which Franklin said came from her beating him with a wooden broom handle after shooting him. But when she appeared on TV 5 days later, she didn't have a single bruise or scratch, despite claiming there had been a violent struggle. Adding to the confusion, motel guests said they never heard gunshots or a fight. Yet Franklin was on the phone with the motel owner during the incident, and the owner claimed to have overheard some kind of struggle. Crime scene photos showed cuts and bruises on Sam's body, signs of a fight that didn't quite match Franklin's account. But perhaps the most shocking revelation came from Etta James, who saw Sam's body at his funeral. In her memoir, she wrote that Sam had been brutally beaten. She described his head as nearly detached from his shoulders, his hands crushed, and his body covered in deep wounds. To her, Franklin's story didn't add up. She didn't believe a woman with a broomstick could have done that kind of damage to a strong man like Sam Cooke. This led some to question whether Sam was actually killed at the motel, or if his body was brought there after being beaten elsewhere. Others suspected a third party was involved. One name that frequently comes up is Sam's business manager, Alan Klein. Known for being ruthless in business, some believe Klein may have wanted full control over Sam's money, and may have played a role in his death. One of the biggest issues with Sam Cooke's death was how the police handled the case. The LAPD wrapped up their investigation quickly, which led many to believe they didn't care about finding the full truth. Sam's close friend, Muhammad Ali, later pointed out that if someone like Frank Sinatra had been found dead under the same circumstances, the FBI would have stepped in immediately. Another friend, Norman Edelin, believed the police's lack of interest was rooted in racism. At the time, the LAPD had a reputation for mistreating minorities, and even though Sam was a major star, they didn't see his death as important. To them, he was just another black man killed in a motel, not worth a deeper investigation. Some, including Edelin, even believed the FBI may have been involved. Under J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI kept a close watch on black leaders and celebrities. Sam was friends with Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, both of whom were already under surveillance. According to Edelin, this connection could have made Sam a target too. Sam had also become more involved in the civil rights movement, using his music and platform to push for equality. His songs like Chain Gang and A Change Is Gonna Come spoke about struggle and hope in a way that resonated deeply with black audiences. Beyond music, Sam was also breaking industry barriers. He started his own record label, ensuring that black artists could own their music and keep their earnings, something that powerful record companies weren't happy about. There's no concrete proof that Sam was set up, but many questions remain. Why did he go to that rundown motel? Why was he acting so out of character? And why did the police accept the story so easily without investigating further? Even today, the true story of what happened that night remains a mystery. The controversial marriage of Bobby and Cooke's widow. After Sam Cooke's death, his wife Barbara was left grieving and vulnerable. During this difficult time, Bobby Womack, who was just 19 years old, became close to her. Despite their 10-year age gap, they formed a strong bond. Some believed their friendship helped them cope with their shared pain, but others saw it as highly inappropriate. Things took a turn when Bobby showed up at Sam's funeral wearing one of Sam's suits and driving his car, with Barbara by his side. People were shocked and upset, but the real controversy came just 77 days later, less than 3 months after Sam's funeral, when Bobby and Barbara got married. In his memoir, Bobby recalled that Barbara told him, "If you promise to give me 5 years, I'll give you a lifetime. Just walk with me through this." They officially tied the knot on February 18, 1965, and their marriage was announced in Jet magazine. The backlash was immediate. Many felt it was a betrayal of Sam's memory, and Bobby was harshly criticized. His own brothers refused to support him, fans booed him at concerts, and Barbara's own brother physically attacked him. Sam's father was particularly furious, not just over the marriage, but also because Bobby was now around Sam's 11-year-old daughter, Linda. Bobby defended his actions, insisting that Sam would have approved of his marriage to Barbara. But the public saw it very differently. Over time, his relationship with Barbara became strained. The constant criticism, along with their own personal struggles, only made things worse. But the real breaking point came in 1970. Barbara caught Bobby, who was 25 at the time, in bed with her daughter Linda, who was 18. Furious, she grabbed a gun and shot at him, grazing his head. Their marriage ended soon after. Aftermath. Sam Cooke's first funeral service took place on December 18, 1964, at A.R. Leake Funeral Home in Chicago. The impact of his passing was undeniable. 200,000 fans lined up for more than 4 city blocks just to pay their respects. After the service, Cooke's body was flown back to Los Angeles for a second funeral at Mount Sinai Baptist Church on December 19th. The ceremony featured a deeply moving performance of "The Angels Keep Watching Over Me" by Ray Charles, who stepped in for a grief-stricken Bessie Griffin. Cooke was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery in Glendale, California. In the month following his death, 2 singles and an album were released. One of the singles, "Shake," became a top 10 hit on both the pop and R&B charts. But it was the B-side, "A Change Is Gonna Come," that became an enduring classic, widely recognized as a civil rights anthem. The song became a top 40 pop hit and landed in the R&B top 10. Meanwhile, Cooke's posthumous album, also titled "Shake," soared to number 1 on the R&B charts. Bertha Franklin, the woman who shot Cooke, faced serious backlash. She received numerous death threats, left her job at the Hacienda Motel, and went into hiding, never publicly revealing where she moved. Although the coroner's jury cleared her, Franklin later filed a lawsuit against Cooke's estate, claiming she had suffered physical injuries and mental anguish from the incident. She sought $200,000, equivalent to $2 million in 2024, in compensatory and punitive damages. In response, Barbara Womack, on behalf of Cooke's estate, countersued Franklin for $7,000, about $70,000 today, to cover his funeral expenses. Elisa Boyer, the woman involved in the motel incident, testified in Franklin's favor. In 1967, the courts ruled in Franklin's favor, awarding her $30,000, around $283,000 today, in damages. Here's how much Sam Cooke was worth when he died. Trying to determine Sam Cooke's net worth is no easy feat. He passed away in the 1960s, before he could fully reap the financial rewards of his success. Even Celebrity Net Worth, the go-to site for these estimates, doesn't have an entry for him. Other sources throw out figures between $1 million and $5 million, but these numbers are questionable at best. That said, we can get a sense of his financial standing by looking at his career achievements. According to AllMusic, Cooke had 29 songs break into the Billboard Top 40, with several selling millions of copies. 4 of those reached the top 10 per Billboard. His impact was undeniable. He ranks number 1. 4 on Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest singers of all time, placed right between John Lennon and Elvis Presley. While it's unclear exactly how much wealth he had at the time of his passing, one thing is certain. He was on track to become even richer. Cooke was not just a talented artist, he was a savvy businessman. He had negotiated an unprecedented record deal, which granted him rights to his own master tapes for 30 years and included significant financial advances. On top of that, he was on the verge of releasing what would become one of his most iconic songs. "A Change Is Gonna Come," released after his death, became an anthem of the civil rights movement. If Cooke had lived longer, his influence and fortune would have only grown. Ferrari Lusso and Manson Connection. On November 20th, 1963, just 2 days before John F. Kennedy's assassination, a silver-gray Ferrari 250 GT Lusso with a black interior, chassis SN 5207, rolled off the production line in Maranello, Italy. A few months later, the car was shipped to Los Angeles, where it would soon become part of music history. By November 1964, Sam Cooke purchased the Ferrari for $13,375, equivalent to about $113,000 today. He later had it painted burgundy red, making it his own. Just a month later, Cooke drove the car to an Italian restaurant before heading to the Hacienda Motel, where he was tragically murdered that night. When police arrived at the scene, Cooke's Ferrari was still idling in the parking lot. After his death, the car went into probate before being put up for sale. In early 1965, Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys bought it for $10,000. Wilson, known for his free-spirited lifestyle, attached a boat trailer to the Ferrari and drove it everywhere with a boat in tow. Eventually, he gave the car to his wife, Carol, as part of their divorce settlement. By 1968, the Lusso was badly damaged in a rear-end collision and later sold to a local sports car dealership where it was repaired. In 1986, it changed hands for $45,000, and by the 2000s and 2000s, its value had skyrocketed to $500,000. Today, even without its legendary musical history, the car is worth $1 to $2 million. Interestingly, this wasn't the only high-profile Ferrari tied to Wilson's wildlife. Another red Ferrari, a 275 GTB/4 NART, met a gruesome fate after Wilson befriended members of Charles Manson's infamous family. At one point, Wilson had a dozen of Manson's female followers living in his home. During this time, the women crashed the Ferrari. Wilson's time with the Manson family was filled with bizarre moments. He would often drive them to supermarkets and watch as they dumpster dived for discarded food, a stark contrast to his glamorous rock star lifestyle. Abandoned house. Sam Cooke, the legendary soul singer and civil rights icon, left behind a legacy of timeless music. But one of the most haunting remnants of his life is his abandoned Los Angeles home. Located in the Crenshaw district, the house was once a symbol of Cooke's success, reflecting his rise from gospel roots to mainstream stardom. Cooke purchased the home in the early 1960s, a time when he was not only dominating the charts, but also making bold moves as a businessman. He had started his own label, SAR Records, and was fighting for black artists to have more control over their music. The home served as his personal retreat, where he wrote songs and hosted gatherings with some of the biggest names in music. However, after his tragic death in 1964, the house became entangled in legal and financial issues. His widow, Barbara Cooke, eventually sold the property, and over the years, it fell into neglect. Though once a grand estate, the home has since deteriorated, with peeling paint, broken windows, and an eerie emptiness that contrasts sharply with the vibrant energy Cooke once brought to it. I Wish He Didn't Trust Me So Much, a song with a scandalous meaning. When Bobby released I Wish He Didn't Trust Me So Much, people couldn't help but wonder, was this song inspired by his real-life drama with Barbara Cooke? The song's opening lines were almost too fitting. I'm the best friend he's got. I'd give him the shirt off my back. He knows he can trust me with his life, but each time he leaves me alone with his wife. Even songwriter Jonta Austin chimed in on Twitter. He pointed out that considering Bobby had worn Sam's suit to his funeral, later married Sam's widow, and then got caught with Sam's daughter, the song felt like a savage diss track. But Bobby denied the speculation. He insisted the song wasn't about any real affair, but rather about a man struggling with feelings for his best friend's woman. He sang, "There's a way she makes me feel, Lord, I'm scared. So scared of what I'd do if she starts feeling the same way too." In his memoir, Bobby maintained that his relationship with Barbara only started after Sam's death, and that the song had nothing to do with Sam Cooke. However, he also admitted that his family relationships were permanently damaged. I don't speak to Barbara no more, Linda doesn't speak to her, haven't spoken to Sile for years, no one speaks to no one. His lasting legacy. Sam Cooke paved the way for politically conscious, musically innovative artists, both black and white. His influence is evident in performers like Kendrick Lamar, who continues to push the boundaries of what black artists can express through music. Cooke always believed that artists, especially black artists, deserved more creative freedom. His vision for pop music wasn't just about making hits. It was about bringing people together and inspiring change. At his best, he showed that music could be a bridge between different worlds. Even after his tragic passing, Cooke's name has been honored with countless awards, from Hall of Fame inductions to Lifetime Achievement Grammys. His voice, smooth yet powerful, remains one of the most celebrated in history. "A Change Is Gonna Come" still stands as an anthem for justice and equality, its message just as relevant today as when he first sang it. Though Cooke didn't live to see the change he envisioned, his legacy endures. His music continues to speak to the struggles and aspirations of Black Americans, reminding the world of the power of art to inspire progress. His influence can be heard in the voices of Otis Redding, James Brown, Stevie Wonder, and countless others. More than just a remarkable singer, Cooke proved that artists could take control of their own careers and shape their destinies. His life was cut short, but his impact on music and the fight for artistic and social freedom will never fade.